Yep.
All right, hey folks, was a little pressed for time. No intros, no nothing. We're going in raw. We're going in balls deep right off the bat. Sorry about being a little bit late. I was stuck in some traffic. So if you're watching this on the replay, don't worry about the intro or anything like that. Welcome to an episode of the Signal Boost. I am John A. Douglas. I am an author. I do stuff on YouTube. I occasionally screech on Twitter, and people sometimes pay attention and laugh at me. But tonight we're going to invite a panel of guests for one of our most recent crowdfunding projects, which is ANVIL issue number 4. And to that end, I have both Richard of Iron Age Media, who is in charge of Iron Age Magazine, as well as a couple of the contributors for this issue, Mr. Paladin Dragoon.
Yo.
Thank you for being here, sir. Mr. Jake Calta, thank you for being here, sir.
Hello.
And Mr. Sean, how do I say that last name, bro? I don't want to mess it up. Sean? Okay, Sean's Sean's AFK at the moment, but we'll get him back. Sean Korsgaard, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it.
Yes, yeah, you got it.
Right on one try.
There you go.
There you are. Sean, who is now the new editor-in-chief at Iron Age Magazine. Forgive my appearance and tardiness, so I was stuck in some traffic on the way in, but we are here. We are live. We're getting it done. And thanks, guys, for showing up this evening.
No problem.
Well, happy to be here.
I am going to try and bring up some relevant links and stuff that I didn't have ready because
I'll dump a bunch of links in chat. Hold on here in our private chat.
Yeah, but
if I can find it, there we go.
I can probably scroll Twitter faster than y'all can do anything. But
And meanwhile, I have like 92 trillion props sitting on the bed.
right.
We have the campaign over at Indiegogo, and that just crossed the $500 mark, which is convenient. I've been running individual issue campaigns over there because that's where the initial crowdfunding was done. But I'm going to be after this issue, it's going to be an annual crowdfunder rather than a per issue, just because it's too many places to keep track of things.
Yeah.
You can also grab it over at anvilmagazine.com, and well, I'll be dropping links in chat here.
I just made the attempt. It's not letting me, but I'll let you handle that, Richard.
You know what? Yeah, I'm not a mod either in your.
Hold on,
I'm hurt, John. I'm hurt.
What? Well, you never show up.
Oh,
I can't make you a mod if you're never in my chat, bro.
Oh, I see how it is. Yeah, I do have a tendency to catch VODs. You stream a little bit early for me, usually.
That's fair. I mean, I can. What the fuck?
I even let me share.
There we go. Hold on, I got you. I got you, bro. Add as a moderator.
There we go. Also, I'll.
All right, there we go.
For ANVILmagazine.com, for the first 3 issues, physical or digital, you can use code Signal Boost through Friday for 15% off. So I thought I'd do that. I was going to just make it the first 2 issues, but since you're in the 3rd, I was like, we'll
yeah. And I apologize for not getting you on to help Signal Boost the 3rd. I wanted to Signal Boost. I know.
I'm real upset about it. I'm still
harboring
a
share
major
grudge with this man. I love it. Showing off the product like fucking Banner.
There we go. Wait, so I still am terrible at pointing behind me.
Well, I mean, I had a lot of time with the book release about the time that was going on.
Oh yeah.
So, it was. I've been a lot more, as you can see, I've been a lot more strapped with time lately.
Bro, that's been the story of my life.
I keep getting the ANVIL magazine website, but not the Indiegogo campaign.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's over 500, and I make a little bit more money from ANVILmagazine.com. So we can just let the people go there, because I forgot to factor in taxes on 2 of the tiers over there. So
there we go.
So be it. But yeah, we're basically the feature story is from the ever talented Blanley Pardo from his series Land and Sea, which is also crowdfunding a graphic novel right now. If you're not aware of it, you should check that out.
And knocking down all all the milestones in the process.
Yeah, I mean he's doing great. It's a beautiful work, and the limited edition cover that was only available for like the first 48 hours was done by Brent Evans, and that's who did this piece for us. And man, he banged this out. It just looks fantastic. It's set up in the up in Alaska. I was going to say up around Anchorage, but I actually don't know if that's true. And it's a prequel essentially to the events that are in his series. So this is one of the first accounts that you'll come across with both opponents and your protagonist, like people actually fighting between various armored combat suits, the Ashers, those rigs. So it's unique offering within the Land and Sea, and a great story.
Right, because I think ever since the first book, it's mainly been it's
The
mainly
fish.
been against the fish aliens, which I feel very bad that I'm woefully behind on this series. But I mean, my God, it's been like 7 books in a year. Like, holy shit, you know, it takes me half a year to read most of that. But
I was about to say, I'm slowly getting up to Blaine Lee Pardoe speeds. That's the terrifying thought.
Well,
of ambition.
he screwed up my selection process on issue 5 because I picked up one of his books and I was like, well, I'll just kind of start this and then I'll keep reading submissions. And I just burned through it and I was like, okay, I just lost 3 days.
oh yeah, once it gets going, his book gets going, like you burn right through it, and it's like a roller coaster going down.
And
it
also,
does not take
that's
long to build up.
That is a very rare quality in a lot of writers too.
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
I mean,
quite true.
The last time I had a book really grab me and hold me was when I did my first read through of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Princess of Mars. When that thing takes off, you're gone, daddy, gone for the next 6 hours it takes you to read the damn thing. Just oh my god. So that is a very, very rare and a very good commodity to have, that sort of drive and propulsion. And I'm not gonna lie, when Richard first shared the cover sheet for because we got that earlier on in the process, there are very few covers that kind of make me go like, oh yes, can't wait to get this in design. It was that and shameless plug, Star Wanderers, the one Anton did for J.D. Cohen's collection. That it's nice getting those sheets where it's like you could see this thing in spinner racks the world over. That's how cool.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, this is a fantastic one. I was very honored to have Blaine reach out to me and send this in. If you scroll down just a bit, I decided to put most of the descriptions in the in InDesign and then just export those as images, because trying to format between the website and Indiegogo and other places is just painful. I've lost all my formatting on multiple issues at times, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it once. Hey, old Kiko-mon, good to see you. But we also have some additional interior art from Natan Melendez, who has done work for us in issue number 2 with Afflicted. If anybody read that, it's a wonderful black and white style that he has. He was working with Brent Evans to get accurate models in the scenes. So he's got a few illustrations there. It looks great.
It does look good. I almost feel like everything that goes into Anvil always looks good. I mean, that's not even saying much. It's I feel like I'm underselling it, but after I've been catching up, so I've gone through the first issue of Anvil, and I'm working through number 2 right now. I'm trying to get up to speed for some future live streams where I have more Iron Age people and involved in it, and just seeing the creativity. Like I've already found some new favorites. Daniel Snow knocked it out of the park with that first. I
want to try and convince him to put things together into like a collection of his own, because he has several. For anybody who's a fan of Daniel Snow, Daniel J. Snow from the feature on issue number 1, Fleet of Theseus. He submitted a second story for the second issue, and I didn't want to put it in that one. He ended up putting it out on his Substack. So I know there's at least 2 stories within the setting that he has built up there. I know he has a name for it, but I'm blanking on it, unfortunately. So you can check out his Substack. You can find that via the links in Anvil number 1.
Oh yeah, it's great stuff. Love seeing it, and it's great to see Paladin Dragoon back as well.
Oh,
Thank
This
you.
is his second. This is his second time in there, and he also had one of the standout stories from issue number 1, which was Brigands of the Moors. I didn't forget. And now he's coming in with part 1 of a 2-part story, which is The Night of Cold Hunger. Mr. Paladin Dragoon, sir, thank you for joining us. And
Thank
can you give us a little bit of a rundown for that particular story? Some of the art's here on stage. I'm going to, if you guys can keep the conversation rolling a little second, I'm about to change out of my work clothes real quick.
We will allow it.
Well, okay. Night of Cold Hunger is a sword and sorcery, fantasy, horror, pulp novella I've wrote over a course of about a year and a half, give or take.
And already sold me. Terrific.
Well, there you go. Wait till you read it, though, because as the series progresses, each story I release is going to be like these 2 characters: the dragon Torshin, the Enduring, and the priest Sharita, the Pious, as they go out and kill monsters throughout this fantasy setting. And
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
sorry, I had to adjust my volume there for a moment.
No, it's okay.
With this story, though, however, it was my inaugural, this is like the full, here's what these, the full Monty, as it were, of these 2 characters. The Brigands of the Moors was largely like a proof of concept, I think it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so the pilot story. Yeah.
Yeah, the pilot. And also that was me, aping Canon Films with a car crash at the opening of it. But instead of a car, it's just a wagon.
I enjoyed that opening illustration that Jazan had for that one. That was a fun scene that he had sketched out there.
Yeah, the as they were chasing after him.
Poor Mort, aptly named.
Yeah, everybody was like, so I don't understand, it's a fantasy setting, but it's like a French name. It's like a nickname because he's gonna die. That's just how it is.
In the words of Menachem Golan, bring me the script.
Yeah. Well, it's so eventually this will lead into a graphic novel series if I can get enough people to read this and all that good stuff. So the idea behind that was eventually, when we get to that part, there is a minor character who will pop up in the graphic novel who looks like Sean Bean.
That's good.
And he does die because he does look like Sean Bean, and therefore Sean Bean must die.
Richard Sharp.
Yes, very much. Even though I was it was the only series he was in that he didn't die in.
I was about to say, it's either that or John Hurt getting hurt, as in emotionally, physically, mentally, totally destroyed.
Totally. But at the same time, it going through and getting all this kind of set up and everything, I was like, okay, well, I need to justify dropping that amount of money. I'll just write some pulps because that's relatively inexpensive, and I can hire Joe Sand to not only draw the artwork for all that, but also to kind of develop the setting. So by the time we get to there, everything's already largely locked in, and we can just go.
But yeah, and it also kind of establishes sort of the aesthetic identity of the series, because I actually have had the privilege, before this was even being tossed in the Anvil cauldron, as it were, to get a chance to read earlier drafts of this story, and it is a very fun story. There's a lot of wonderful atmosphere throughout this, and I I like the vibe of these two characters. I like how they play off of each other. There's a wonderful rapport between the two, and I think that's definitely evident in Night of Cold Hunger.
Thank you. That was about a year of very hard work, of just like making these two sound like they were actually people, not just characters.
It's one of those issues with dialogue of making it feel natural, making it feel lived in. Because I know we've like kicked drafts back and forth with each other, and some of the problems I always have, in my own work, is that sometimes people start getting too verbose and too wordy for their own good, and it's like, okay, kid, put away the thesaurus. Let's have some actual people talking.
Yeah. It's also it's hard to write priest from like a 15th century fantasy setting.
Yeah, without having that robustness of verbiage there.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, well, I know the dragon basically talks like a Old West Baptist fire and brimstone preacher. That was established early on, and I think I nailed that. I hope I nailed that.
No, absolutely, and I love that one cover shot you have of him smoking the pipe. I know that caught quite a few eyes with that one.
Yeah. It's like everybody had someone like, "Oh my god, that's the most brilliant thing ever!" It's like dragons smoke pipes. That's just what they do.
Whenever you can present something that's just a little bit different in the fantasy genre, everybody all of a sudden is like, "Wow, that would have been a great idea. I wish I had thought of that." That kind of a thing. Like this book that I picked up not that long ago, a progression fantasy called Kraken Rider Z. I know there's somebody out there kicking themselves in the head because they thought, "Wow, it's a great concept. Why didn't I think of something awesome like that?" And Paladin, your stuff's always great, and the art by Josanne, of course, is naturally fantastic as well. It's always a good accompaniment.
Oh well, I didn't realize he was an artist for DC Comics until he had shown me some of his prior work. It was like, oh, holy crap! I actually got somebody who's good.
Right.
I'll put it this way: that ink work has to have shown up somewhere else. That is loving the shading on these.
Oh yeah.
Really quick, got to address this because it's a super chat for $2. Kinkoman, show me, show you. Kinkoman, hail! Thank you very much appreciated, good sir. Hello to some of the other folks that are popping in. I realize we didn't have time to really get in and say hello to the chat, but I'll do what I can. I saw Michael Bancroft was here. Hardcore Bunny showing up. Good to see you, sir. We have a new guest joining the lineup, Mr. Jamie Torkelson, who is, Miss Jamie Torkelson, who is unknown to me. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Signal Boost.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Sorry I'm late. I ran into my life is changing very quickly right now, so I have.
I was stuck in traffic. The host is late. Yeah. You don't have to apologize for being late either.
And we've had a misgendering here. Somebody get the rope. We need to,
I've been trying to cancel
for John here.
Yeah, they've tried to cancel me for far less than that.
And to answer Andrew Campbell's question, a lot of weed.
We've talked about this in chats.
Yeah, I don't think I'm one of those guys that partakes of the devil's lettuce, but doesn't make it his entire personality.
No, it's like I have a jacked up back from working out in the oil field since I was like 11.
Yeah,
right.
I need it in order to walk.
If you guys knew what I did in real life, you wouldn't be telling this story.
I live in California. It's perfectly legal here.
It's still, people get nervous when they talk to cops.
I did private security for 12 years, and I had no problem talking to a cop. Even hell, the last time I spoke to a cop, I had the joint hanging out of my mouth, telling him he can get the hell out of my property.
Well, the thing, because I technically I'm cop adjacent, but I'm actually changing careers entirely right now.
I know how that feels.
And the first thing they teach you is don't talk to the cops. So,
yeah.
Never admit to anything.
Yep, pretty much.
Well,
the last time I talked to a cop, I ended up going to jail.
Dang. Well, that you do live in California, so.
Well,
The hard-edged pulp of Paladin Dragoon, straight from cell block D.
well, more like county lockup. I almost killed a man, so
No, geez.
Oh God,
Almost.
Jesus.
No half measures, Paladin. Only full measures.
Well, I mean, he was a meth head, so. And he
Yeah.
threatened-
Just
he
barely
threatened
human.
Well, he threatened my then spouse, now, my then fiance, now spouse. So it's just like, who cares? But the state didn't like the fact that I discharged warning shots, and that's what they got me on.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, no cops nowhere like discharge shots, but some people seem to think you won't until you actually do.
Yeah, pretty much. Because the look on that dude's face when I actually fired off my pistol, he was like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't get near him."
Some people got main character syndrome bad, and they think they can push the boundary. It's a common bully tactic. They push until they realize someone will push back in a much more serious manner.
There was like a street cam video I remember from like years ago, black and white. That's the guy just keeps escalating, and even as the other guy, is drawn up. He's open carrying. He's drawn. The guy's be like, "Don't do it, man." And he just keeps going like, pops him one, just to get him down and stop.
Right in the
man.
leg, yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about. He goes down
and then
screaming.
also he starts mewling like there's no tomorrow. It's like, son, you fucked around a little too hard and you found out.
Oh no, not the consequences of my actions.
How dare you?
Jamie, tell us about your entry in this issue of Anvil.
So Homefront is the first short story I ever wrote. Like, I was the kind of person up until I wrote Homefront that was like very smugly like, I'm a novelist. That's all I do is write novels. And that wasn't working out for me. So I I think it was an October. I remember it was Halloween. Why the story takes place during Halloween. I watched the Blob with me and my sisters just like watched the Blob as one does.
Which one, the original or the 80s version?
The original.
Okay.
Yeah, the original. And I just was like, oh, this is, I just wrote down this, like, that night I wrote down this like bullet point kind of premise of just like housewife meets aliens, fights aliens, and it went from there. And I think it took me a couple of months to write it, and then I just kind of refined it until it became what I think is the best version of it now. It was different when I had originally written it. The ending was not, or like the way it didn't really work together. It didn't really play out. So I had to like kind of rewrite it. And now it's one of my favorites. I've entered it into, 5 or 6 different competitions, no bites. And then Richard came along and I found a home, because you guys, everybody who writes in Iron Age writes the stuff I like, and I think what's, at least from my point of view, I know there are women in this movement, but I'm the kind of girl who doesn't like the romantic-y type stuff. I want there to be.
I have thoughts on that. If you'll give me just a second, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
but
no.
I kind of have to, because I don't have a cheer button. But guys, give it up for Kikoman dropping $100 on me. Dude,
Oh, damn.
who had that? Who
That
had
was
that
me.
ready?
That was me.
Thank you,
private
Kikoman.
soundboard.
It's a shout out to the 2 musicians, Evely and JVP. Hail King Richard. Hope you've been doing well. Work is keeping me busy too busy to be active. Well, I appreciate that, Kikoman. That is going directly into the book cover fund, and is going to be greatly appreciated. You probably saved me like 2 whole days worth of overtime work right there.
Oh, John, real quick,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna have Joe San draw the rest of your cast for you from your first book.
Oh, thank you. Just tell him to message me whenever he's ready. I do have to get some stuff going for that, but yeah.
Yeah.
That dude, that was really nice of you. I honestly can't thank you enough because that work is great. For those who don't know, Josanne, Mr. Paladin Dragoon, was nice enough to fund this little bit of artwork of one of my book characters, Cortland, from the Black Crown, and I just sometimes I just sit there and look at it because it's great, man. I love it. Thank you very much.
Oh no, it's like every time I look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's the asshole we all know.
Mhm.
If you read the book, you understand he's an asshole. He's an asshole on purpose, though.
Yes,
He's
yes,
an
but
asshole
he's
with a
our
heart.
asshole. He's
Yes,
our
exactly.
asshole.
He is.
Goatee.
Huh?
The goatee is a nice touch.
Oh yeah. He's got a prickly personality, so like visually, I kind of wanted that to be represented with the hair, the spiked goatee, and the weapon that he has. Although he doesn't get this weapon till like near the end of the book. It's not really spoiling all that much though. But
No, I love it. He's got barbarian Errol Flynn look going to him.
no, he's an up-jumped farm boy turned adventurer, and the basis for him was Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Only instead of, I took a different direction. What if Gaston decided that?
What if Gaston had a personality?
Yeah. What if Gaston said, you know what? Fuck this town. Fuck Belle. Fuck the triplets. Fuck everybody here. I'm better than this rinky-dink town, and went off on his own to be a big fish in the rest of the ocean. That was kind of the origin for him. But let me put this back up. But sorry, Jamie, please continue.
Yeah. So, like, my absolute kind of favorite stories, I love Conan the Barbarian. And the only, because so like the way I kind of, you guys hear me? Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
You're all good on my end.
Okay, good. But kind of the thing I see in this there's two different kind of movements going. There's the whole romantasy thing that I'm not into because, like, I'll use what's that one that's real popular, Fourth Wing, and I'm sure people will hate me for criticizing it, but I don't understand the function of the school because it's a warrior school and you kill a bunch of people. It doesn't make any sense. You're in the middle of a war. But then you go to the opposite extreme and you see stuff like Conan, and it doesn't have like the emotion and the romance that women, like, at least like myself, kind of enjoy. It is great for what it is, but I think
I mean, it's classic men. It's very masculine fantasy.
I don't ever want Conan to not be that. Like, to be clear, I want Conan to stay what Conan is, because then he wouldn't be Conan if he wasn't. But so, like, I'm trying to find that try to find that happy middle. So I always am like, my main character's happily married. She has children, but she's also, I want to think, like, what's the most badass thing? And it's like, oh, wife and mother. Just, a wife and mother who knows her way around an arsenal,
That's basically every woman I've ever met growing up.
You sound like a Kansas Chiefs kicker.
Well, I do have something in common with him, but it's hard to. I did not put a whole lot of thought. I was mostly rushing to get here, so if you're looking for deep thoughts, it's not today.
I will also say this. Can I tell them about the morale poster, Richard?
Yes, absolutely. I've been tinkering around with different potential things, but we're definitely doing the initial one that you came up with as well. So let me see if I can't find. Do you have that pulled up?
I do. Let me see. Go through like my 50 gajillion folders.
I know it's in the drive, but
all right. I know I have it downloaded though. Let me
I'll have it.
Am I allowed to share screen?
Or do they have it?
Yeah.
Please do. I will. I'll bring it on up.
All right.
I wonder where else is.
All
Okay.
right.
I think it's a good change of pace, Jamie. That's when you can have, I think hold on. When you can provide, like a difference of different kind of stories and elements in the magazine. That's one of the best things about Anvil is that it's not just stories. It is, and it's not just the same kind of fantasy stories. There's a what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of a buffet of differences.
Mhm.
I mean, shoot, just the artwork in and of itself is evocative of something very interesting. It's like, oh, I want to read this.
Yeah, I read this story and I immediately thought of Delta Magna, who is the artist who did this. She does a lot of pinup work in the gun world, so you'll see a lot of patches and things like that, and including for military units and so on and so forth. So she's done all sorts of stuff, and I thought to myself, I was like, this would be excellent. She also has a she didn't post these until after I'd already contacted her about this, but she had some older works, I guess, that she hadn't shared yet, that are kind of like the very classic 1950s housewives with like the MG60 and so on and so forth. And I was like, that's perfect. But I thought she did a killer job here.
Can you send me her link on Twitter?
Sure.
Thank
In
you.
fact, I'll just drop it in chat because
I hadn't seen that poster, so that is it's a magical thing to see like something that you have written, like to see someone draw it and care about it as much as you have. It's a very different experience from just like the couple of years I've been sharing stuff around with like my coworkers and things like that. So that is really cool.
For $5, Mario, I'm going to take a shot at this. True Hilo. Tell me if I'm wrong with that. Mario says, when it comes to C heads, 8 shots are a must. Some coworkers emptied 3 mags in one, and that effort tried to jump on the counter. Stay safe, people. Very much so. I was trying to decode that while I was reading it. But thank you for the 5, sir. Thank you very much.
Looks really nice, though. I like that. I like
Yeah, I had a lot of fun lettering that, just because it was one of those working on this magazine, because God, we're coming up on a year. God help us all. Seeing so many of the different artists kind of come through issue after issue, and being able to kind of something like that piece for Homefront just captures the imagination instantly. So that's why I had a lot of fun lettering with that, and looking forward to getting that out in the wild.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the artwork that y'all have for my story in the last issue, Valiant Storm, because I'm so used to not having art for so long for the story, whatever I've written. I feel weirdly guilty when I pay an artist, and then I'm like, okay, no, can you tweak this? Can you tweak that? Because I feel like I'm pestering people. That's just me.
It's part of the creative process. That most recent picture I had by Lolo's art of the Chimera battle, like there were about 5 different sketches of like the poses before we got it right.
Yeah.
And me with Kevin on 365 Inventory, we will go back and forth until the damn thing's done. And fortunately, he has this great eye for detail, and so you get these incredibly realistic versions of guns. Like his version of the Wildy Magnum, every time I have him draw Lita, I love the way the Wildy comes out. And so, yeah, it's just a natural part of the process, going that back and forth until the thing's, just right.
So we've got a good bit of stories in here. Sean, you've got a story in this issue as well?
Yes, I do.
You want to tell us a little bit about it?
I would be delighted. So to actually begin with a question asked by one of our lovely audience members, let me scroll back up to that one. Andrew Campbell asked, what inspires a story? So for this one in particular, it was a combination of a deadline looming over 24 hours. A week I've spent playing Stellaris when I threw out the story I'd been working on for it beforehand, and having just read about the Battle of Gallipoli, where, for those who aren't familiar, the Australian Anzac soldiers on the beachhead could not advance, were facing Turkish machine gun fire, were ordered to march up a cliffside, and wrote letters that they buried in the beach right before they died in combat. And the concept here is essentially humanity has spread among the stars, and a military veteran who has left Earth to escape a traumatic bit of his own history has discovered a dark alien secret. Essentially, he is called up by a war buddy who is a scavenger in Lalande 23183, which is, I think, the fourth or fifth closest star to Earth. Star system is filled with wreckage from what is assumed to have been some vast alien mystery. And they have found the first intact alien vessel with an alien body inside. And he is given the daunting task as an augmented cybernetic soldier to dive into the mind of this alien and find out just what happened. And it digs up a lot of his own unpleasant memories, and he gets to witness the thoughts behind this star system it was an interstellar Gettysburg, and it turns out it was in fact a Stalingrad, with civilizations battling, aliens, extermination. Essentially, he finds out that a civilization sacrificed itself to ward off an even greater threat. At least that's the thought. So you have the opening line of the book is, if you don't mind me pulling that up very quickly, it's actually used as a teaser. When mankind tells the story of our first message from an alien civilization, I hope they'll remember that it began with two old soldiers at a diner, and it ends with two old soldiers at a bar. And in between that, you have a story that will rewrite the history of the cosmos.
I'm a sucker for a good open line. That's like my thing.
You open strong and you end strong. That is one of the big lessons I've learned writing for the past few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
I'm looking forward to having Sean also. I mean, I'm really happy that Sean was able to make it into issue number 4 this way, because this was perfect. And then it was a later kind of happy coincidence that we worked out the situation to have him come on as managing editor for starting with issue 5, and although I'd selected stories for issue 5, but he's getting the full immersion with issue number 6. So I'm excited, because I think he's going to bring a lot of just a little bit extra polish. I know that it's the Iron Age and we're hammering things out, but that doesn't mean we can't buff things up here and there when we get the chance.
For those who might not be acquainted, I worked for Bain for 2 years, where, among other things, I learned the craft of editing from the inexhaustibly talented Tony Weisskopf. You can learn more about the craft of editing from a conversation with her than you can from entire college courses. And I am very much looking forward to sinking my teeth into the ANVIL slush pile. And I hope all of you will keep me very busy with that.
Well, I hope you'll enjoy the next story I've got coming out here soon.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I have a bet that we like the number we have in that slush pile, but I have a challenge to all of our lovely viewers, readers, and listeners. I want 100 more by the end of the month.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You'll have at least one more if I can ever get a damn day off of work. I ain't gonna lie.
Just to spite you, I'll write 5 more and send them in.
You motherfucker.
This is the one I feel bad about. I'm probably gonna miss this 5th. Is it the 5th? No, 6th issue.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna have anything to enter. The way things have worked out this time around, I just don't have the time.
It's okay. We've got quite a few to go through as it is. So
Well, and I should let other people have a turn too. So-
Yes, yeah, that's the problem. I did turn down one of yours, but but then you've got another one. Yeah, anyway, you do have that other one that you sent in for 5, but I always come across your stuff, and what was it, the last one that you sent in? It was kind of a funny family militaristic caper, and I got to the end of it, and I was like, dang, this is good. Then I was like, I don't remember who wrote this. And I went back and I was like, oh yeah.
Now, Richard, for the benefit of those who are listening who might be watching this and are curious, what are the submission guidelines for Anvil, and what do you guys, like?
Let me drop a link here. So I am always looking for a broad variety of styles and genres within various things. I'm also looking for comics. If you have a comic, I want to talk to you, even if it's already been published, that you can fit it into a suitably small format. But as far as short fiction goes, I want any kind of, not any, but most genre fiction. I'm not particularly interested in like overt romance. I'm not interested in like clear political allegory and things like that, those are not as much things that I want to be in Anvil. Anvil's goal, overall, the vision for the magazine is to be a stepping stone into this world of indie. So I want to have a nice broad variety of things to put forth. So, science fiction, fantasy are almost always going to make an appearance. Western, whenever I can pull those in, but there have been some kind of urban horror stories as well,
couple westerns too.
And what now?
A couple westerns too.
Yeah. And so, this one has, speaking of Western, it has Big Man-Eater Owl, which is a kind of a weird Western, shall we say, which is, very popular these days, but I have no problem with straight up Westerns.
Well, I mean, our first issue did feature a preview of this bad boy.
Yeah, Ghost of the Badlands. Yes.
Oh, man, I haven't got mine yet.
Yeah, I know. I'm still
waiting on mine.
I ordered the double, the black and white and color version. So
yeah, that was me for the past few weeks, because I did like a haul post when I'd gotten my Anvil 3 and First Strike Care package. So I threw that in alongside a couple of my back issues. I got some Marvel Conan tucked in the back there, and I bought a couple of records a few weeks ago, and so I was like, I wanted that in the photo, but it was still taking its sweet time. But man, it's worth the work. Past those first 12 pages, ooh, it heats up.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Technically, my story is a pseudo Western, but in a fantasy setting.
Yeah, you've got some interesting.
Yeah.
Blending of elements. So yeah, I'm always looking for things that not that you have to reinvent the wheel every time. I there are definitely some things like take The Coldest War from Blantley Pardoe. That's a very straightforward sci-fi kind of power armor mech warrior's tale. There's really nothing super fancy to it, you know what I mean?
There's
in terms
no
of like
new
or unusual.
Right.
It's
this
you get what you expect from Blaine, and it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and by all means, I am all in favor of that kind of thing as well. So
now, for those curious, in the Land and Sea universe, this event that's being depicted here was one that was only hinted at as an event that happened in the past before the start of the books, when the Ashers in this universe were in use in warfare before the sea aliens invaded.
Yes, yeah. And in fact, they're in many ways very ill-equipped to deal with the fish, which are the term for the aliens of this universe. So these
only good fish is a dead fish.
Yeah, exactly.
With butter and Cajun seasoning.
Yeah, there's that gets covered in one of the books.
Yeah, I know it does.
I don't remember which one, but
oh, they actually eat them. I knew if we ever covered like a unit, like a battalion that was stationed somewhere in Louisiana, I knew that somebody who killed them alien fish would be like, All right, boys, let's fire up the crawfish ball and see what they taste like.
Yeah. Well, I won't ruin that scene, but
It's like a horror story from the point of view of the aliens in that.
no,
Yeah,
trust
really.
me, it's very much a horror story for the humans. There are lots of significant, very body horror and some other disturbing stuff in the Land and Sea series.
See?
But yeah, thank you, AC. I appreciate you dropping by.
Yeah, appreciate everybody who dropped by. Sorry,
Yeah,
again.
we've got so many of the talented First Strikes folks. That's a kind of a metal album that we put together with issue number 3. If you haven't heard about it, check it out. The preview is on my YouTube channel. You can check it out there.
And if you need someone's professional opinion, I have a review of it on my blog, and I was impressed. I am hard to impress.
Good. I need to retweet that. I mean, I don't know. Did I know that you did that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You did. You retweeted it.
Did I? Okay. My apparently this just goes to show how
Also, like
crazy
Twitter's
things have been.
Twitter's such a nightmare. Like as far as like trying to get stuff put out, unless you.
Yeah, I need to like channel everything down because I've got too many places where people can talk to me, and my brain is slowly turning to mush. So
Yeah.
when is the next EP? That's
Twitter.
JVP. You and Jake and myself, we need to, and Evely, we probably all need to sit down and figure it out. So
yeah.
Oh, I do want to hire JVP and Evely for some content too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking issue number 5. Also, it's going to be, our fall issue. The feature story there is going to be definitely a kind of a horror Solomon Kane-ish night, and I would love to have a nice piece to go with that. But we'll talk about that later. As far as issue 4 goes, as far as issue 6 goes with the submissions, all I will say about submissions is that for the good people here who I always want to give the best opportunity to people who are within the Iron Age, within the community. So the only secret sauce I'll tell you is that it's easier to find a place for a story when it's a little bit shorter. The word limit goes up to 8,000. But if you're a 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 word story, it is easier to find a spot than an 8,000 word story. Those ones, there have been stories, and Jake can attest to this, where I look at it, I'm like, I really like this, but it's like 7,800 words, and I don't know if I like it 7,800 words enough. You know what I mean?
If you're putting up like a novelette or a novella, it has to be like.
It has to be killer. So, I mean, that also speaks well of Paladin Dragoons, right? So, we are serializing the Night of Cold Hunger, but that's for 2 reasons. 1, it's killer, and 2, because I have already worked with Paladin and I know what to expect from him, and I know that the readers really enjoy his stuff. You know what I mean? So, generally speaking, like please, just because I don't like being mean to people, don't send me chapter 1. Don't pitch me, a 10-part series or something like that I can't say no to, or that I can't say yes to. You know what I mean? But flash fiction, I really don't have a good spot for that right now. I have put forth, I think. Hold on. I think issue number 4 actually is going to have 2 pieces of flash fiction in it, but they are both from the Iron Age Media prompt submissions. Okay, so that's another way to get into the magazine. Is I put out a little generated image every Wednesday and accept submissions there. That's just free. You send them in, you let everybody read them, and I repost them and I share them. And at the end of the month, I'm supposed to have voting. I've gotten extremely negligent about that, and I'm trying to figure out how to catch up. But I do read all of them, and the ones that I feel like I enjoy the most, and also, very importantly, fill the spaces that we need within the magazine, get
pulled into Anvil. So
I will say
there has been some incredible stuff done with flash fiction, and if you can tell a great story in 1,000 or 2,000 words, more power to you. Happy to read it. One of my all-time favorite fantasy short stories is by Jack Vance called Leanne the Wayfarer. Under 3,000 words, sets up an entire universe, earth-shattering conclusion, and it's about 2,800 words long.
Oh, wow.
So if you can pack a punch with just 1,000 or 2,000 words, lace up your gloves and knock me the heck out.
That's a very unique sort of writer skill. There are some writers who are just absolutely masters at it. And then you have like epic fantasy writers like me. We're used to 8,000 words is a good start.
Yeah, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when I got done writing when I was writing Valiant Storm and I wrote that in just a couple days, I kept like that part of my brain that's like, okay, let's expand on this, expand on that. Like I was sitting there thinking I could turn this into 120,000 word novel easily. And there was so much more I wanted to do, and I just couldn't do it. So, but I like being challenged as a writer to be able to kind of take that focus back a little bit and just tighten up the story to just what needs to happen.
It helps. Like when I did Brigand of the Moors, like I sat there was like, oh, I could easily go off onto 30 different tangents with just this one idea, and it's like I can't do it because I'm already over the like the word count already as it is.
Yeah. John, I was going to say, I actually stopped reading The Black Crown because I was trying to read it while I was reading submissions. And I started reading it and I was like, okay. I was like, geez, we don't need to read this. And it was like, nope, cut, go. And I'm like, stop. You are in editor brain. You do not need to be reading this giant door-stopping novel right now. I am short fiction editor brain. This is the worst thing that I could be doing.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry.
I will also say this. This is one of the reasons why I'm grateful that I have 365 Imagery as kind of my main fiction project, because of the whole weekly flash fiction thing with Red Light Bites. Because being able to cut your teeth and you're like, can you say something with punch, with bite, with meaning in 500 words, and can you rinse, repeat over and over again? And kind of keep honing the craft, and it's been kind of a fun. And you know what? It also gets up the back catalog count, because the summer issue of 365 that's going out in June is gonna be printing its 100th, the project's 100th story. I've written 100 stories with this damn series. This insane sci-fi cyberpunk heavy metal wolf menagerie, and it's really good to give yourself that space and that place to cut your and really hone the craft. And I think anyone can learn to do it in 500, and then that makes everything you do from 1,000 and up tighter and tighter and tighter.
Okay, I was going to say we got to wrap this up I guess here soon. I wanted to shout out Ken and Ichthy5. The Helm, Ken B and TJ Marquis put together the Helm comic that you'll see down there, and then TJ started coloring it, and I decided that we should. I reached out to Ken. I was like, "Who do you recommend for a good colorist? Because I think that this might take it up a notch." And he suggested Ichthy down there, and he's done a fantastic job. I've not updated the campaign pages with it yet because we're kind of time crunching here, but it's a killer little story. It's very reminiscent of the classic Peter Laird. But and then also, John, do you have anything else? I was gonna drop a little teaser, just a little heads up of something that Jake, Sean, and I are doing as well.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we got time. We got time.
Okay. So
Yes, I have.
I was going to say, so Sean, do you want to go ahead and also mention it here? I know I've talked about it a little bit in the chill streams on Sunday, but I thought you might want to shout it out here as well.
Oh, I would be delighted. So, for all of our folks listening in, who here is a fan of sword and sorcery?
I'm raising my
Me,
hand.
I'm contractually
Absolutely.
obligated.
Excellent. I happen to be a bit of a fan of the genre myself, if you can't tell. I have been a devoted reader for years. At my time at Bain, it will probably go on my tombstone that I helped get Hanavar by Howard Andrew Jones published.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
There you go.
Nice.
I will work in this genre another 40 years, and that will be one of my capstones, and I am damn proud of it.
And he just nerdy narrative just released a review of City of Blood and Marble.
Oh,
City of Marble and Blood earlier today.
and it's outstanding. And as one of the 5 people on the planet who have read book 3, he does it again, guys. He does it again. But
Oh,
Awesome.
don't tease me like that.
I'm not done teasing because one of the
I have
reasons
a whole
that
stack of
Richard and
stuff.
some of the folks at Anvil and I were talking was I have been looking to actually launch a sword and sorcery magazine. I know how to edit, I know how to write, I know how to work with writers, but I am rubbish at production. I don't want to learn that side of things. And Richard, on the other hand, launched a magazine in the last year, kept it quarterly, kept it on time, and kept things running. That is no small feat. So we started wrapping our heads together, and ladies and gentlemen, Iron Age Media will be publishing 2 magazines next year.
Ooh.
In addition to Anvil, we are being joined by a sword and sorcery magazine. I want you to have your swords and your pens ready. Join us on the front lines of fantasy for Battlehorde.
Nice.
Awesome.
And
Looking forward to it, man. This is great to see. It's great to see magazine fiction, fiction come back in the indie sphere.
And
Because
that's one of the things I've loved about modern sword and sorcery is that it has thrived in the indie sphere, where for years, again, I got to learn from Toni Weisskopf, and you should hear some of the horror stories she told me about publishing sword and sorcery in the 90s. Apparently, the 90s was not great for everything. And this is from a publisher where they had their editor testify before Congress because they published a book by Newt Gingrich. But in the indie sphere especially, you have had Howard Andrew Jones with Tales of the Magician's Skull, the Waystone Discord server. One of the best fantasy anthologies of the decade came out last year. Neither Beg Nor Yield. Absolutely outstanding. Something for every kind of flavor, from Blackgate to Cersova to New Edge. It's been a thrill to see sword and sorcery thrive like this, and where I want this magazine to fit is that blood and thunder action feel that you got the first time you read Conan, Kane, Elric, Vance, Jarell of Jory, any of the classics. And just as much, we want to celebrate the classics. One of the things Richard and I talked about is each issue will have 2 reprints. One pre-2000 classic story, especially because there's so much stuff from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that in some cases has been out of print for decades. Niftaline, Kane, Imaro, for crying out loud, hasn't been in print in 20 years. There is a lot of material we can work with. And reprinting some of the more recent stuff, because I know there are some terrific authors in the indie space. If I'm allowed to spoil 2 authors we've lined up for the first issue.
As long as we are confirmed on them. I know one for sure.
We are confirmed for at least 2 that I will spoil tonight, and the rest I'm going to tease like hell because I am incorrigible. There is
Man
only
after my own heart, ladies and
one
gentlemen.
series we could begin this magazine with, because he has been the herald for this genre through dark times and good. He has been my friend, my mentor, and a champion of this genre, and so few others can. For our cover story for issue 1, we have a Hanavar story from book 4 by Howard Andrew Jones.
Nice.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And he is thrilled. He's been I will openly admit, we are clipping a lot of his notes from Tales of the Magician's Skull. So we're happy to be working with him. As for the second one we will reveal tonight, how many of you are fans of a Mr. C.L. Warner? Okay. How many
Yes.
are fans of Warhammer?
Yes.
CL
Yeah.
Beck has been one of the authors behind some of the Black Library's most bone-cutting books. But more importantly, he has this own character of his called Shintaro Oba, the Demon Hunter, which is this Japanese sword and sorcery series that has been absolutely outstanding. And when I asked if he would be interested in maybe having a story for our first issue, to give you the kind of idea of what kind of writer Warner is, he sent me 3 stories. This man is like a machine gun when it comes to these stories in terms of both speed, efficiency, and power. And I hope you fall in love with Shintaro Oba as much as I have.
Awesome.
Yeah, I see.
Definitely
I'm
Definitely
loving.
looking forward to that.
I'm loving the idea of this series because it is going to be one thing that's really nice about it. It's going to be a clear, identified market. Who we're talking to. You know what I mean? We want action. We want good story, and we want blood, guts, and a good time. Essentially,
Okay, so do you want me to just like start publishing the rest of Savage
we'll
Adventure
we'll
Tales?
We'll talk.
Okay, because that's all that's going to be with me.
I'm about to get like 100,000 words on my in my DMs from this man. I could just.
I
feel it.
know. I was gonna say we got to be careful with Paladin here. I remember Paladin, the first time you sent me the Night of the Cold Hunger. I said it's a bit too long. I'm sorry, man. And it was 12,000 words. And then you sent it back to me. And it was like 17. And I was like, this is the opposite.
Yes. Yes.
I found my people.
But also, it's just like, look, do you want quality? That's how you get quality.
I know.
Are you
It
telling
worked
me
out,
that
but it
I
did make
could've-
me laugh. I was like,
Are you telling me that I could have gotten Le Gourmand published if I'd have just added 7,000 more words to it?
Yes.
Slap another
Yes.
novelette.
Well, also
Why
you
not?
have to bully Richard in the right way. It's like, look, I got quality content, and I'm providing artwork.
yes,
Out of
yeah,
pocket.
yeah.
Anvil
you,
issue
you
number
get an artist
10
like
is
Jozan on your team, and
Yeah.
it makes it harder to say no. Yes.
Exactly.
Anvil issue number 10 is just going to be twice as big as a normal issue, and it's just going to be Paladin printed in it.
Yeah, 50% Paladin. Yeah.
The Paladin
guys-
Special Edition.
You're
Well,
right.
I will be honest. I'm never going to break 100,000 words. That's my hard cap. And the idea is you could break it up into at least 3 different anthologies, or 3 different stories spread out over three issues. So I'm cutting out work for you. It's like, oh hey, just cut it here at Act 1, Act 2, and then here's Act 3, and you're done. That's all you got to do.
Yes. Yes.
We'll make a novel writer out of you yet, Paladin, I swear.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm retired. I have nothing else to do other than write and harass my spouse.
Well, listen, guys, this has been great, and I want to thank Richard, Sean, Jamie, Paladin, and Jake for all being here this evening. You guys have been wonderful talking to you. I'm sorry we didn't have a chance to go a little longer. Again, sorry about being a little late. But thank you all for being here. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Anvil issue number 4, back it, buy it, do like I did, get the yearly subscription so that you don't miss out on these issues, because I do. It just happens to me. I love getting magazines in the mail. I used to get comics in the mail when I was a kid.
We got to do this for issue 5. Definitely for sure.
Yeah, that is definitely in the works. But for now, I'm author Johnny Douglas, guys. We got to get going. So we're gonna go. No outro. Gonna go ahead and end the stream. Everybody, say goodbye to your mama.
Bye.
Thank you.